Hi, this is Josh from Shamma Sandals, and I just wanted to share my thoughts on foot health. So when I was thinking about this a little bit, at the core of everything of Shamma Sandals, like for me, there's so much to it because it's a business, and there's designing sandals, and there's talking to different people and getting materials together. So a lot of my mind's preoccupied with that. Then there's social media, and then there's whatever, all this stuff. But at the heart of it, like what we're after is building a sandal that helps keep your foot healthy. So and we're totally focused on that end. We really want these sandals to be something that benefits you physically and in whatever other way. So I was thinking about it. Well, what's a healthy foot? What do I think of as a healthy foot? So I was just writing down some things. And I think the thing that stood out the most to me is a healthy foot is a foot that can do its job. It's capable of doing the things that you would ask it to do, perform. Walking, hiking, running. Those are if you needed to do that at any moment, is your foot ready to go? Is it ready to do that? So a healthy foot's capable. It can do those things when called upon. Once your foot helps you do those things, is your foot in good enough shape that it could do it again in the near future? Or would the recovery time be so bad that you would you kind of spend all your chips just doing one of these activities? So going back to the sandals, why are the sandals helpful in all this? A shoe has a number of problems because a lot of shoe manufacturers are looking at the human foot, and they look at it and they're like, well, it's got all these problems or weak spots that we need to correct. And the three that I focus on most of the time when I'm thinking about the sandals or where the shoe companies are kind of trying to correct our feet, one is, it's an obvious one. There's the heel-toe drop. So it's essentially, you might have a drop of 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch from the heel to the toe. And you think about that, well, what's the big deal? Well, I try and use this example of if you had a car, and a lot of us, you take your car and you get some new tires, and they always want to align the tires, because if your tires are off a 1/16 of an inch, you're going to burn up your tires as you're driving down the road. Now imagine if you just change the alignment of your body by 3/4 of an inch. That's not something you should mess with. And that kind of thing, encourages heel strikes. These big padded heels, they encourage you to walk in a way you wouldn't naturally. If I say this, if you needed to have a really tall heel, you would have been born with a taller heel. That's my little premise I work with. So the Shamma sandals help get you back down to get you back down on your heels. I think that's important. I think you'll find that principle important in things like weightlifting. When people do squats or exercises, even if you're not lifting with weights and you're doing a squat, you want to push up off the heels, right, instead of off the toes. And so actually sometimes Shamma sandals are we've had a number of customers that really like them for things like squatting and weightlifting. Okay, so that's one thing. The next one is the arch. And the arch is this thing that most shoe companies, I'm gonna say, it seems like it to me, everyone wants to fix the arch. They want to, oh, there's an arch, so we want to support it. And you have to ask yourself, well, if I have an arch, maybe it's there for a reason. Well, what does an arch do? An arch has a really specific purpose. I'll show you. I don't have great arches. I've got pretty flat feet, but the arch, as I step to the outside of the foot, and then my foot, as it rolls in as I'm stepping, that's pronation. The arch squishes down, it compresses with each step. And so when a spring compresses, it's just loading energy, and then that energy gets released. So it gets released as you walk through. It gets released out, it lifts the foot up, and then you push off with the big toe. If you take away this key feature of the foot and part of its function, man, you're doing terrible damage. Well, Shamma sandals do not do that. We don't have arch support, and we never will. So Shamma sandals are definitely, we're pro arch, and and we support the arch by not supporting it, so to speak. And then finally, the next thing was letting your feet splay. When you see people come out of, I've seen like a lot of bunions. I've seen like people when they take their shoes off, their toes are like almost permanently squished together like that, instead of being spread out. And it would almost be like if you took your whole body and were kind of hunched over like that all the time. You know, you want to stand tall with your shoulders back, breathe in the air, and your toes, your feet are kind of the same way. They need to splay, they need to spread out. That gives you a wider foundation, more dexterity. It makes you more agile when you're walking, and you know, your feet, it positions your feet so they can spread out and they can take on that proper movement forward. Our style of sandals allows your toes to spread out, and you get the full use of your feet. The last thing is, and I think this is really actually quite important, is like the skin of your feet. I think that it's kind of underappreciated. When you take your foot out of a sock or a shoe it's been in all day, you know, it's in there 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, my goodness, you know, the skin just becomes really like weak and sensitive. It's not used to the elements. Having your feet exposed to the elements a little bit is good for them. You know, you get a little bit of sunlight, get some air, let them breathe. The skin isn't so tender that you know, you're afraid to walk around outside, or you're going to touch anything and it's going to be so sensitive that you know, it's not going to be able to handle that. That builds confidence. It helps you to walk around more freely. So Shamma sandals, in conclusion, they're good because they're going to let your feet basically act as if they were barefoot. You're going to have to deal with them a little more, clean them a little more, get more involved with your feet. That's going to mean bigger range of motion. And but the cool thing is, the best thing about all of it is that the more you let your feet do their job, the more confident and equipped they will be to do their job when called upon. And you're going to have stronger, healthier, happy feet.